Hello everyone. Today in this video we'll discuss what is IVIG and how it is effective for treating many of the inflammatory conditions. In the previous video we have studied MISC and IVIG is one of the main treatment for MISC. So what is IVIG? IVIG means it is an intravenous immunoglobulin. So this immunoglobulin is derived or made up from a pool of blood which is collected from around 1000 to 1500 donors. And one point that we keep in our mind that these donors are healthy and they have screened for many of the diseases, and after ensure that they are healthy, then we collected blood from that, then we are taking the antibodies and it is purified in such a way to provide as a drip, as an intravenous drip to treat many of the inflammatory conditions. So another thing that we will use IVIG to reduce the inflammatory processes in autoimmune diseases. Example like Sjögren's syndrome, multiple sclerosis and celiac disease. So such kind of autoimmune diseases, this IVIG therapy will reduce the inflammatory process in the body and strengthen the immunity. And another thing that the humoral immunodeficiency. So what do you mean by humoral immunodeficiency? In which the body doesn't have the ability to produce enough antibodies which is required. So that time this IVIG will provide extra antibodies to strengthen the immune system and to fight against the infections. So these are some of the main aspects that we should remember when we are thinking about IVIG therapy. So now we will see some of the main indications of IVIG therapy. As we said before, the primary humoral immunodeficiency is one of the main indication of IVIG therapy. So what are some of the primary humoral immunodeficiency conditions? Like Westcott-Aldrich syndromes or hyper IgM syndromes, or like other kind of normogammaglobulinemia symptoms with a selective antibody deficiency. So in such conditions, we will use IVIG to prevent the infections. So that is the indication in such conditions. Then when we will come to the ITP or idiopathic thrombocytic purpura, the IVIG is used to prevent and control bleeding as well as increase the platelet counts. So the indication of IVIG therapy is different in each conditions. Then when we come to the Kawasaki disease, so we know the main symptom of Kawasaki disease is the coronary artery aneurysm. So the IVIG is used for preventing that coronary artery aneurysm. Then the another one like hematopoietic stem cell bone marrow transplantation patients. So in such patients there is a chance of recurrent infections and pneumonitis, and another one like GVHD, graft versus host disease. So such infections or the chances of like graft rejections, it will prevent by the use of IVIG therapy. Then the another one is like secondary immunodeficiency diseases like HIV infection in children. So in that case also IG therapy is used for the preventing the recurrent infections in the body. Then the another one like B-cell chronic lymphocytic leukemia. In such case, the IG therapy is used for preventing the recurrent bacterial infections. And another important thing that IVIG therapy is indicated for MISC that we have studied in the previous video, multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children. So in the MISC, the IVIG is used to reduce the inflammatory effect on the body organs or the vital organs, and this is mainly prescribed as a high dose of IVIG to reduce that inflammatory effect, as well as it will strengthen and stimulate the immune response, and the symptoms also will decrease. So now we will move to some of the infusion criteria, or how it should be infused in a body based on the body weight and the symptoms criteria. So first we will start with the 0.01 ml per kg per minute, or if you will count in an mg, 0.5 mg per kg per minute of 5% solution. So here we said 5% solution. So in different companies' product, there might be some of the changes of solution or the quantity or the milligrams. Sometimes 100 ml is equal to this much amount or this much grams. So that should be checked before using this infusion rate calculation. So we'll start with the 0.5 mg per kg per minute of 5% solution. Then we will gradually progress to double the rate for the next 15 to 30 minutes. That is also based on the body weight. Then we will reach to up to a maximum of 4 mg per kg per minute of 5% solution. So that will be the maximum tolerated rates, and that will continue until the infusion will finish. So the another important point that we should keep in our mind is that during the entire time of infusion, if the patient or the children should be monitored, there should be a cardiac monitor should be connected, or if there is not much problem in the patient, at least before and after 5 to 10 minutes of each infusion rate change, we should take the vitals, we should check the patient condition. So that is very important. Now we will see based on the weight how we should calculate or how we should administer the IVIG. So as we all know that the IVIG is also a category of or the high quantity medication, and it also need a consent sign like a chemotherapy, and it also needs some of the pre-medications to avoid the adverse or the side effects. So some clients they need pre-medication, but not always, like paracetamol, acetaminophen, or like antihistamine medications. Then in some rare cases, corticosteroids also required as a pre-medication. So here in this table we can see if the child or the children weight is 5 kg, will start with a 3 ml per hour infusion. So for the first 15 minutes, then gradually we will increase for the next 15 to 30 minutes to 6 ml, which means double the ml. First it was 3 ml, then we double to 6 ml per hour. Then gradually for the next 15 minutes again we will double, and finally we will reach to 25 ml per hour. So that 25 ml we can continue until the infusion will finish. So that will be the maximum tolerated amount or the ml per hour. And each infusion rate change, we should check the vitals, we should check the patient condition, and we should check for any kind of side effects like urticaria or any kind of anaphylactic reactions or allergic reactions. That is also very important. If we found any kind of such reactions or adverse effects, we should immediately stop or slow the infusion, and the physician should be notified. Then they might be prescribed some of the corticosteroids or some of the antihistamine medications to stop or to decrease the adverse effect on the body of that particular reaction. Now we will move to some of the dosing guidelines of IVIG therapy, or how frequent a patient should require IVIG therapy based on their infection status or based on the symptoms or the criteria. So the first one is if it is a high catabolism or more frequent infection, if the patient should require every 2 to 3 weeks at a lower dose, which means the IVIG it should be repeated every 2 to 3 weeks at a lower dose. But in case of an active infection, the dose should be halved to 200 to 300 mg per kg, and the repeated dose on after 2 weeks, and it should reach a complete effect or should achieve a full dose. So in two cases we can maintain the guidelines. First one is if it is a high catabolism or a more frequent infection, the dose should be repeated every 2 to 3 weeks at a lower dose. Or if it is an active infection, the dose should be halved 200 to 300 mg per kg, and a repeated dose after 2 weeks to achieve the full dose. So that is the dosing guidelines that we usually used for the IVIG therapy. But in case of MISC, we said that it need a high dose therapy to decrease the inflammatory effect, because the inflammation it will attack on the main vital organs. So if you will go with a low dose, it will take a long time to get the desired effect. That's why it start with a high dose. But the complete monitoring is very necessary, and the child should be receive this IVIG therapy in an ICU setup or in a pediatric ICU. So that is also an important point related to IVIG infusion in MISC condition. Now we can see who all can receive this IVIG. Both adult and children can receive IVIG therapy. So how does it work, or what is the mechanism? So the IVIG, it is an immunoglobulin. It is already there in our blood plasma. So when the people donate blood, it will be separated out, and it will be purified for many of the infectious diseases like hepatitis and AIDS. So after the purification, it will be using for an intravenous purpose, or for an IV therapy. Then before taking blood from the donors, we should ensure that the donors are healthy, they are free from any kind of such infections. So these intravenous immunoglobulins will help our body to fight against the infections and will strengthen our immunity. So that is the the basic mechanism or the basic process behind this IV immunoglobulin. We are not going to detailly discuss about those things. It's just for an understanding we are keeping. Then now we will see what is the nursing responsibility or the nursing emergency actions based on the adverse reactions or the side effects of IVIG therapy. So some cases the IVIG therapy show some kind of side effect anaphylactic reactions, and another time it might be an allergic reactions. So what are some of the anaphylactic reactions, like chills or rigors? If we found the child or the patient have a chills or rigors, immediately we should slow and stop the infusion, slow the rate and stop the infusion. Then administer ibuprofen, aspirin or diphenhydramine. So once we found after starting the infusion or after increasing the rate of infusion, if the children or the patient show some reactions, side effects like chills or rigors, immediately we should slow the rate and stop the infusion. Then inform the physician, they will be prescribing some of the diphenhydramine or ibuprofen or aspirin. Then the next anaphylactic reactions like headache. If the children show signs of headache or the children have headache, administer acetaminophen, ibuprofen or any of the NSAIDs. Alternate after infusion every 3 to 6 hours for 24 to 48 hours based on the physician recommendation. Then another some of the anaphylactic reactions like a migraine headache or malaise or flu-like symptoms, myalgia, arthralgia. In such cases also, the infusion rate will slow and observe for some time. If it is not the migraine headache, means immediately we should give the medication, anti-migraine medication what the child might have been or the patient might have been taken previously. So to stop the migraine headache or its intensity. And sometimes oral or IV steroids may help to decrease the intensity of the headache also. Then like non-pharmacological interventions include turn off the lights, apply some cold compresses and increase fluid intake prior and during the infusion. The hydration during and prior and after the infusion is very important to minimize the side effects or to minimize the intensity of adverse reactions of IVIG therapy. So we should ensure that the children or the patient are well hydrated. Then when we said that myalgia or arthralgia, educate the patient the resting after an IVIG infusion may help to minimize the muscle pain or the muscle aches. And some children may have an opposite effect with an increased amount of energy, but then usually require an increased amount of sleep. So these are some of the anaphylactic reactions and the appropriate nursing intervention based on the reactions. Then when we'll come to the allergic reactions, the first one we know that urticaria or the rashes over the body. So in patients who have not experienced transient urticaria with many of their previous infections, the development of urticaria should trigger immediately stop the infusion. So when we found the child or the children or the patient, they show some urticaria or the rashes over the body, immediately stop the infusion and inform the physician. Sometimes the urticaria will develop the first time of infusion therapy. Sometimes it might be for the repeated time of therapy, they will show some kind of urticaria or rashes. In that case also, immediately we should stop the infusion. Then the another one, vasomotor symptoms. We know that the patient already connected with a cardiac monitor and we are keep on monitoring their temperature, blood pressure, heart rate and respiratory rate. So if we found any hypotension, flushing or tachycardia, slow or stop infusion. So first is nursing action is that slow and stop the infusion. Then administer fluid with the hypotension based on the physician order. Administer diuretics on physician order if fluid overload is likely. If it is a fluid overload, based on the physician order, go with the diuretics. If it is a fluid low, means administer some IV fluid to prevent the further hypertension. Then nausea, vomiting, that is also one of the common side effects. So stop and slow the infusion if for some time. Then administer some antacids based on the physician order. then administer IV hydration or anti-emetic medications. So these are some of the common side effects or the adverse reactions usually seen in patients who are receiving IVIG therapy. And I hope you might have a clear idea about what are the nursing interventions or what are the medications usually the physician will prescribe based on the adverse reactions. Now we will see some of the key points that we should remember while we are giving or while the doctor is prescribing an IVIG therapy. The first thing that IVIG therapy require a consent. In case of children, the parents should aware about what are the consequences, what are the side effects, and how it should be managed, and how frequent they need the therapy, and how much the cost. Many of the concerns they might have. So those things should be clarified before starting the IVIG therapy, and their consent should be taken. Then the IVIG therapy, they should be aware that it will help to reduce the inflammation, and the frequent infections will reduce, and how it should be monitored, and what are the methods to prevent side effects, especially when in terms of hydration. So those things should be informed prior to the infusion. Then a nursing staff will monitor the child carefully during the infusion. Most of the children feel comfortable, but some might have some kind of distractions, extreme irritability, some might be feeling more sleepy. So these things should be notified. Then some children might experience mild side effects, and very rarely most serious side effects also occur. So let nursing staff know if the child starts feel unwell during the infusion. Then another main thing that we should know that concomitant medications. So while we are giving IVIG, it should be dedicated in a single IV line, and we should not use that IV line for any other medications, because we know that some of the medications compatibility it not be good for, or it not be compatible with the IVIG medication, and some of the medication will leave a precipitate in the IV lines, and that also will make some adverse reactions, or it will cause some allergic reactions to the patient. So if you are using the same IV line, it should be flushed 5 to 10 ml of sterile water or the NS prior to starting the IVIG therapy. So these are some of the main points related to the IVIG therapy. I hope all of you got some idea about IVIG and how it should be transfused, and what are the transfusion calculations and the transfusion rate, and how to manage the side effects. This managing side effects and preventing adverse reactions are some of the important aspects related to the IVIG therapy. So if you have any concerns, if you have any doubts, you can just leave a message.